The rumors, they are a swirling, Bloom.
Look at all these rumors. Can't
Mm.
take it no more. My
Well, we
best
can
friend,
take
I
it.
can. Yeah, Timex Social Club. That was a good song.
Wow. It's,
It's a good song.
do the
People gotta
kids
know
even
about
know?
that one. Do they know? Well, that's why we're here.
Let's do it.
You got a team, here's a word to the wise. You want to dominate your league? Go to football, guys.
Football, I'm living in a fantasy. Football, got everybody mad at me. Football, cause every game I had to win. Football, I gotta be a champion. Football, I'm living in a fantasy.
One of the first things that I learned on the All-Star road trip, Bloom, a
Mm.
couple of things about Michael Penix we'll get to in just a little bit, but intently, I was told that Drake Maye is falling in this draft. Now, that might be falling to 3.
Right.
But do you think, and I've pondered this, but I want to toss it to you. Do you think the season of lies has started early?
Well, I will say this. You have layers, right? We have layers and lots of interlocking pieces because you have Chicago. Is Chicago going to keep the pick and select Caleb Williams? Are they going to trade the pick? Are they going to keep the pick and keep Justin Fields? Are they going to trade Justin Fields? Then you have Washington at number 2. Do they want May? Do they want Daniels? Do they want to move up for Williams? Maybe Chicago internally evaluates Williams, May, and Daniels close enough that they say we can trade down from 1 to 2. We still don't want to go forward with Justin Fields, and we still get a quarterback that we want. And then you have New England. And New England is a bit of a wild card here because if it was still Bill Belichick New England, we might say they're probably going to take the best non-quarterback, right?
Yes.
Bill Belichick would be
Right.
sort of saying, give me the best non-quarterback at number 3. That's easy.
He would pick Russell Wilson, right, off the scrap heap, and then he would draft Brock Bowers or something like that.
Something like that, exactly, offensive lineman. So New England is a bit of a wild card right now, whether they're just automatically going to take that number 3 pick, or if philosophically the quarterback at number 3, or philosophically they want to trade down. And then we've got teams at 6, 7, 8. We've got Denver. We've got other teams that are wanting their intentions at this point to probably stay a bit concealed.
Yeah.
So
they try anyway.
They try. So see, it's one of those kind of like one of those gunfights, like at the end of Reservoir Dogs, where everybody's waiting for somebody to pull their gun, so then we can actually see how this is all going to sort out. So I would say, yeah, the lying season. That's a long answer. That's what I'm good at. The lying season is underway, but because this has the most moving parts of any draft season at the top of the draft that I can remember.
That's why nobody really knows what's going on right now. Now, do I believe that Jayden Daniels is on a hot streak? Yeah, of course. Jayden Daniels is my favorite quarterback in this class. Now, not to say that Caleb Williams isn't, he is him, or whatever. Like, Caleb Williams could be one of those Trevor Lawrence, Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, John Elway types, where he's not going to miss. Like, Caleb Williams is fantastic and amazing. I haven't heard anything different, although one scout did tell me there's a little Zach Wilson to him, which I want to investigate further. I'll be at the combine in a couple of weeks. The Audible on the road, Bloom. But like I look at it and I go, okay, is this more about Jayden Daniels and less about Drake Maye? Honestly, I think it is.
Well, I think that, just to throw this out there, if you're Carolina and you could take Anthony Richardson number 1 now, would you do that? Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. The tools.
Except you're Dave Tepper.
Well, sure. It's a question of tools, right? It's a question of ceiling. It's a question of an NFL where having a quarterback who can flip the field. Obviously, I'm going to totally go on a tangent here, right? Because I got to clear something up, but I don't really need to clear it up. There's Mike Tomlin's out there saying, "I'm Justin Fields. I'm interested. Yeah, Justin Fields. I really like that guy." It's not the Steelers style. They're not going to do it. Okay. And in fact, this might have been why I put this out there this way. I choose my words carefully most of the time. I said, I would not be unhappy if the Steelers sent the Bears their 2024 and 2025 firsts for Justin Fields. Now, will it take that to get it done? Probably not. But I phrase it that way to say, like, as a Steelers fan, if that was what was announced, I would be happy with that. I'd be okay with that, because the quarterbacks who can set up an asymmetrical battle with the defense in a one drive, one play scenario are the ones who can get your team to the next level, right? If you're Kyle Shanahan and your outcome is based on your scheme and your execution and all the complementary parts, and Brock Purdy can get it done, then that's not as important. So I think that a player like Jayden Daniels gives you that possibility. And again, Cecil, I think the easiest way for us to give folks a guide to why this is so difficult to prognosticate is all three of these quarterbacks would go number one in a typical draft.
Yeah, no doubt. No question there. And that's why it's all about fit and it's all about finding that playmaker. Now, Lester's in the chat room saying, like, if it wasn't about Lamar, nobody talking about Daniels. True. All right. There is a bump for players. After Devin Hester, Ted Ginn was a top 10 pick. And I'm not comparing Jayden Daniels is my favorite quarterback in this class. Like, I love his game. And I do think about that upside, Bloom, because we have to project where they're going to be. And again, fit is big. Is someone going to take him that will use him the right way? Is someone going to take him and allow him the time to develop as a passer? But those physical gifts are absolutely amazing. And we know, like, if you can match amazing with hitting that potential, you have Pat Mahomes. Not everybody's Pat Mahomes, obviously. Everyone's looking for who's the next Pat Mahomes. Nobody's going to be the next Pat Mahomes. But we saw the person that has let Kyle Shanahan down the most is Kyle Shanahan. We see what getting a really good starter. Like, I'm not anti Brock Purdy. I think there's been a lot of overstatements, Bloom, after the Super Bowl. Like, Purdy sucks, whatever. It's like, let's pause on that. Purdy is a really good starter, but really good starters get beat when they face that dude.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? That's what I'm saying. It's that end of the game scenario. It's that end of the game scenario where you can make that play that you shouldn't have been able to make, right? The play whenever Chris Jones is coming and Deebo Samuel's wide open and Brock Purdy, bless his heart, Brock Purdy's not going to find a way to make that play. But Patrick Mahomes might, right? Kyler Murray might. Justin Fields might. Any of these three quarterbacks in this draft might. And that's tantalizing. So I think that there's just so much intrigue here. And Cecil, I want to step back and say always the most fun part of the draft for me is that teams can't lie. And based on the moves teams make or don't make, looking at my Steelers there, they're showing you where they think their deficiencies are, how you win, how you use your resources to get closer to that ultimate goal.
Yeah, get closer to the ultimate goal and see what you can do there. It is the Audible. We're talking about quarterbacks, of course. Kieran asks, which QB do you think fits best with Peyton for Denver? Take two QBs. They will take two QBs. One will be a free agent and one will be moving up in the draft. They likely will move up. Maybe could be totally wrong. Sean Payton doesn't even know the numbers of the quarterbacks. Wink, wink. I can't believe people are still falling for that. I'm like, in the day of alternative media and propaganda, why people like hear, well, Sean Payton said he doesn't even know the rookie quarterback, so how could they know which one they love? When Drew Brees at the Super Bowl says, I think I have a pretty good idea of who Sean Payton likes.
Yeah.
It's Drake Maye. And that's why if Drake Maye does fall, and like, again, fall to 4, this is where the Broncos become even more involved. But Bloom, as you mentioned, the Falcons interested in moving up. The Giants interested in moving up. Like there's a lot of moving parts, and that's where Kirk Cousins something needs to happen with Kirk Cousins. Something needs to happen with Russell Wilson. Something needs to happen with Sam Darnold or whoever. Who's this year's Baker Mayfield? Well, hell, it might be Sam Darnold. We'll put a pin in that. But there's a lot of movement left. So I think people are waiting for someone to make a move. Where's Kirk Cousins going? Like, make these moves, and then I think we'll get more clarity. Drink on the rest of the draft or the top of the draft.
I'll throw out one more name for you, Cease.
Sure.
If you went over to the West Bank to the Nom Talk parade, you may have been rubbing elbows with Jameis Winston, who loves New Orleans. Maybe he's going to stay in New Orleans because
I retweeted a video about that.
Yeah, he was just out there hanging. That's Jameis fits in the city so well. But Jameis Winston, arguably, Cease, played his best football of his career with Sean Payton.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. What's unfortunate, I guess, Bloom, is like Broncos fans hate the idea of Jameis, and I'm like,
Oh.
I'm trying to change their minds. I'm trying to warm them up, brother. So here's your little diatribe. Set them up. Warm them up on the idea of Jameis.
Yeah, well, remember when Jameis Winston first came to New Orleans, what did he take? He's like a 1 year, $1 million deal,
Something like that. Yeah.
tiny. I mean, much below even what he was worth as an in case of emergency break glass backup. And yet he was able to really rehabilitate I don't want to say rehabilitate his image or the view of the league, because I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to see what this offseason brings. And he didn't look as good without Sean Payton when he got on the field after Payton left for Denver. But I think you see at a time, quarterbacks wanted to work with Sean Payton. Quarterbacks really felt like was going to unlock the best part of their game. Another name I'll toss out there, and I don't know how well this would mesh with Sean Payton, but just a name in the quarterback landscape, Cease, that, like we say, waiting for other shoes to drop. What about Joe Flacco? What does the league think about Flacco at this point?
Doesn't he say in Cleveland?
He says he's not. Now, the latest this morning is no, he's not going to be coming back to Cleveland. And I can only interpret that to mean he's going to get a starter contract somewhere. He's going to get 15, 20, 25 million, and maybe even as a bridge quarterback. I mean, Mike Glennon got that, right? Not that much, but in terms of where the league pay scale was at the time. So I think potentially Joe Flacco is going to figure into this picture, and it's exciting. And I think every year now, every year for the last 4 or 5 years, we say we've not seen a year of quarterback movement and quarterback intrigue like this.
Yeah, because speaking of propaganda, the league wants you to keep paying attention to these quarterbacks, and most of them are dog trash. Sorry, Joe. Well, that's the God's honest truth. Like, I've always said it, and I think it's even more true today when we see 60 quarterbacks play during the regular season. Like, 20 of these teams are kidding themselves. 12 teams probably got a guy, and only a few, 3 teams have like that dude. And then, 9 teams are okay, like, really good. And then 20 teams are absolutely kidding themselves. And if you're in the kidding themselves thing, that's why you will trade whatever. Right. And I guess who was it here in our chat room? Oh, of course. It was Jimmy. It was Jimmy saying you were taking beefing with you on Twitter. I didn't see it because I don't pay attention to Twitter. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a waste of time, everybody. But like people need to get used to the idea that one, Kenny Pickett's not real good.
No.
And Kenny Pickett's not developing, and you're not going to bring in anyone to develop Kenny Pickett. Like, and Justin Fields is an upgrade. Like, and here's the thing. I believe right now, Bloom, could be totally wrong. I believe the Bears are going to keep Justin Fields, not because they're saying that. They've been saying that since January. But I believe they will keep Fields, and they'll trade down from 1 to at least 2 with Washington, and they might trade down even after that.
Sure. I mean, that makes sense. I think to unpack the Fields Steelers thing, well, of course, Cease, as a Steelers fan, you have memories. And I don't know where a current day Cordell Stewart is. Justin Fields a modern day Cordell Stewart as far as his game, as far as the
being misunderstood, maybe not being, embraced by the fan base enough. Like Cordell, a lot of things would be different for Cordell today.
Absolutely. And from a football standpoint, Cease, what do we remember of Cordell? I mean, he didn't have feel as a passer. He never really had feel, right? He was never a quarterback that was like a joystick quarterback that runs the offense. He's the opposite of Brock Purdy in a way. It's more like, speaking 49ers quarterbacks, like Colin Kaepernick. I remember Colin Kaepernick all but won a Super Bowl. And then very quickly outside of that environment, his usefulness faded in the NFL. So Justin Fields, I mean, the Steelers should have won a Super Bowl with Cordell. It's 98, 2001. They had Super Bowl winning teams. They had everything in place. And John Elway happened. Thanks, John Elway. I was going to go to that Super Bowl. I was going to go to the Super Bowl 2001.
Steelers beat the Broncos in the regular season that year.
Didn't just beat them. I think they thumped them.
Yeah.
I think it was it was a flawed Broncos team. That's the sad thing, right? See, if you, as a Broncos expert, as a Broncos lead coverage guy, I I mean, the two Super Bowl winning Broncos teams, are they even among the best 3 Broncos teams of all time?
No, not at all.
It's just the way it works out. So Justin Fields could give the Steelers a chance to win some of these games where their offense is letting them down. Whoever they're going to take in their first round pick this year, whoever they would take with their first round pick next year, even the extra money because he's on a rookie contract. You have a starter on rookie contract. You can sign somebody for agency. 4 players, 2 first round picks, and 2 players you can sign in free agency with the extra, whatever, $30 million over the next 4 years you're going to get. How much impact are they going to have at the end of a game? Not as much as Justin Fields.
Yeah, not as much as Fields. There you go. And that's the thing I think people will be coming around to is like there are teams that covet Justin Fields. And I've said this before about Sam Darnold. Like the opinions on Sam Darnold may be like, oh, he sucks or whatever. There are NFL people that I talk to, decision makers and coaches that really covet his skill set.
Well,
So
and
maybe y'all think he sucks. Justin Fields sucks. Sam Darnold sucks. The league doesn't think that yet.
Well, and he doesn't have shrinkage syndrome. I'm trying to make something up here. Like what I mean is with
I was in the pool.
Exactly. That's Zach Wilson, right? I mean, I think with Zach Wilson, you would say whatever organization Zach Wilson would have ended up with, this is where he would have ended up. It's just being with the Jets accelerated it. But if you look at Sam Darnold, if you want to say, what organizations do you not hold against a quarterback if they were poor when they were there? The Jets and the Panthers. I mean, those are organizations you say, oh, we'll give you a mulligan because those are organizations that are difficult to succeed in. And then with the 49ers, even just the fact that Kyle Shanahan is so interested in Sam Darnold should make you say, just like in your fantasy league, when there's that certain shark in your league that when they ask to trade for a player, you immediately reject it. And then you go research, why are they asking for this player? That's Darnold and Shanahan.
Yeah. Red Herring asks on Twitch, what's up, dude? He says, what about the reports some teams being super high on JJ? I haven't heard that yet from people that I trust. That doesn't mean it's not out there from reputable people. But the opinions on JJ McCarthy vary wildly because I don't have a first round grade on him. Next year I would, because you have to project him because he's so young. Is he 20, right? He's like super young. So you have to project him going forward, what he could be. The raw tools are there, but the physical stuff's easy to see. So I haven't personally talked to a team that's super high on JJ McCarthy, but I'll tell you this, Jim Harbaugh might draft him.
Yeah.
You get him anywhere near Jim Harbaugh, and Jim Harbaugh might draft him. And it doesn't matter that Herbert's there, and it doesn't matter that he's likely to get the best out of Herbert, although with Greg Roman. Like, what should we set out a prayer candle for Justin Herbert, Bloom? Because he gets Joe Lombardi, who's going to throw a bunch of 3-yard passes.
Right.
And, we think it's going to be fixed with Kellen Moore. Spoiler alert, it's not. And then now Greg Roman.
Yeah, you know what's really sad? It's really sad if you're Justin Herbert. I mean, I think we can all agree that probably rookie year Justin Herbert was our favorite Justin Herbert, right? I think. Shane Steichen. So that coaching matters, right? Coordinators matter.
It does.
And just with respect to the Harbaugh McCarthy stuff, it's just fun, Cease, because I already did it with the Justin Fields thing, but I'm going to do it again right here. The draft season is fun because we get into football theory and you can have smart people who spend a lot of time thinking about football come up with diametrically opposite outcomes when given a question. And when given this question about McCarthy and Harbaugh and the Chargers, if Jim Harbaugh has clarity, that he can turn JJ McCarthy into a top 12 NFL starter and they can get him at their natural first round pick, why would you not do that? That's a massive value. And yes, okay, now you have 2 quarterbacks. Adam Harstad would come in here and say, well, look what the Cowboys did, when they took Aikman and Walsh back to back. Look at Young in Montana. Nobody should say, well, if you have the guy, you shouldn't try to get the guy if you think you can get the guy. Because Justin Herbert would likely draw the biggest trade package in NFL history at this point.
Yeah.
So you get your quarterback on a rookie contract for the long term that you believe in and know intimately already, and then you have the ultimate piece. I mean, you could get anything basically you want for Justin Herbert at this point. Three like NBA style trades, like first round picks into 2028, 29 to get a player like Justin Herbert, who probably still has his best football ahead of him if he can just get a good coordinator.
Yeah, and then you could build a strong team in Los Angeles. Kyle Shanahan's not going to fire Kyle Shanahan, but he did fire Steve Wilks. Which sucks because we were so excited when Wilks got hired by the 49ers. Like, this is the key. Oh my God, the 49ers, rich get richer. Well, he's the scapegoat this year. Kyle, it's you. I don't know how I would put it if I had an audience with Kyle Bloom, but it would be very interesting to hear from Kyle or Mike or John Lynch about, like, okay, what's this Wilks thing about? Because wasn't really on Wilks.
Well, as far as we know, and I'll touch on some different things you hear. You hear things, right? You hear things. You hear. Maybe some of the more reasonable explanations are Wilks is a DB guy, and the Niners defense is a front seven defense. Like, why'd you hire him then? You hear that he was never really embraced in the building. He was never really embraced because when you've seen the coaching pipeline for Shanahan, it's mostly guys that he's worked with already. That's not Steve Wilks. That he never really was accepted and embraced, and perhaps maybe there was even a power struggle. And then you also hear that, well, Kyle Shanahan lost trust at some point in the season already, and he was already putting together his own game plan. And they were already going over top of Steve Wilks. And then there was that point in the Super Bowl where the timeout was called to change the coverage. And even in real time, the announcers were saying that he didn't like Wilks' coverage. And maybe people were a little more aware of the rift. And I think that the bottom line is you use the word scapegoat. And that's really what feels gross about this. What really feels icky about this is I can't remember another scenario like this, where the week after a Super Bowl, a successful coordinator was let go. When I say successful, and this is where I'm going with this, what did the Niners have? The number 3 ranked defense, right? And there was some good, I think, healthy outcry saying, how can you let go of the guy who was the coordinator of the number 3 defense? I think what this all stands for, whatever the actual explanation is, whatever was actually going on behind the scenes, and I know this is the kind of stuff, Cecil, you were kind to Lassie bark to us or otherwise indicate to us there's so much more going on than we know. We're peeking through keyholes, folks. We all are. And whatever was going on with Steve Wilks, whether it was fair or not, there were a lot of precursors to it. It wasn't like the Super Bowl was the reason Steve Wilks was fired. I think there was a lot leading up to this. Every year there are situations like this that are brewing for months even, that we don't know about, and it seems like a surprise, but to the people in the know, it wasn't.
Well, if that's the case, then you're dumb for keeping him around that long.
Well, yeah, and
fire
it's
him in the
Kyle.
season.
It
like
is Kyle.
Cam Cameron.
Yes.
Cam
Yes.
Cameron
Well,
was fired with what, a month left, and then Baltimore
Right.
goes unconscious.
Right.
With Jim Caldwell running the offense.
Right. Well, look, even the Ken Dorsey move and getting Joe Brady. I mean, I don't
Right.
love the move, but you have to act with some clarity and some decisiveness, and that's why
Yes.
it is Kyle. It is on Kyle, and this is why the Matt Eberflus stuff doesn't make that much sense to me, right? This is why the Nick Sirianni stuff doesn't make as much sense to me. If you're blaming the coordinators, you're pointing back. How many fingers point back at yourself? My mother, may she rest in peace, would say, if you curse somebody, it can come back on you threefold, right? And when you're saying it's the offensive coordinators, it's really coming back on you. You're really saying it's me, it's my decisions, it's my fault.
Well, it's not your fault if you are not subscribed yet to Football Guys here on our YouTube channel. So make sure to help us out. You love the show, support the show, and we need some help with the YouTube algorithm. So please help us out by like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. We appreciate you all. And for checking out footballguys.com. We're here for you all off season. Got a couple shows a week. Like I said, I'll be at the Combine. In 2 weeks, I'll be at the owners' meetings in a little over a month. So we'll keep you abreast of everything. I'll be at some pro days, maybe even some quarterback pro days. I don't know yet. We'll see where they send me. Anyway, I'll have some hot Easton Gibbs take at Wyoming's pro day, but maybe not for this show. Dallin Holker, though, I'll be at CSU's pro day. So Rams represent. He is Sigmund Bloom. You follow him on Twitter at Sigmund Bloom. I am at Cecil Lammey. The show is at the Audible, saying thanks for watching, everyone. Stay tuned, and would you please stay frosty?